I did first grade, and I titled it Addition Coming to Fruition. And just to give like a little bit of background, I imagined that the learning centers would be done in such a way where we would have already covered addition and subtraction, but the learning centers would be a sort of assessment. And so I would start with an addition learning center, and then maybe the next week we would do a subtraction learning center, and then we'd do the next week after that an addition and subtraction learning center. So let me just quickly. Okay, so my content standards focused on the overall goal that they state at the very beginning of what each grade is supposed to come out of that year really knowing and having a good solid hold on. So students show/exhibit ability to solve simple problems, and then the specific content standards under that would be students use a number of sentences with operational symbols and expressions to solve problems. And then underneath it's write and solve number of sentences from problem situations that express relationships involving addition and subtraction. And then from there, obviously, they would understand the meaning of the symbols, addition, subtraction, and equal sign. And then also, they are going to be able to create and recognize problem situations that might lead to given number sentences with addition. And then they're going to be doing their own word problems, their own setup. So they would be determining the approach, the materials, and the strategies necessary to use. And it also gives them a chance to be innovative and explore in their own way how that problem works for them. And then the next one is students solve problems and justify their reasoning. So they show how they understand what it is that they're doing. Okay. So the first one, so I didn't, and I apologize, I didn't have time to make this what I wanted to, but this is supposed to be, these are supposed to be laminated. And then underneath you can take these things off and they're stickies. So at the very end, when we've already done the activity, which I'll explain in a second, as a class we would put the right numbers into these boxes. And so then after they could check their answers. So I would start off with the pennies, and they would take the problems here. So they take the sums or what it's added up to, and obviously there would be more pennies. And say if they were in groups of 3 or 4, they would add up. They would figure out with the pennies how many would equal 16. And then from there, they would, they would show their strategy, right? So it would be pennies plus this amount of pennies equals the total amount of pennies. And then they would each be given a group baggie, and they would put the pennies that they used into this baggie plus their written out equation. And on the back of this card, they would write their group's name. So that would be the record of me knowing what individual group did it, and then seeing which ones understand it too. So that, and there would be pencils and whatnot, and extra scratch paper if they needed to work it out a little bit more. And then for this activity over here, they would start off by reading Where the Wild Things Are. So, which is one of my favorite books. And there's a specific section in here. And also in the content standards prior to that, because that'll make sense, they would have already had to learn, that a year equals 12 months, and that a week is 7 days, etc. So this is just kind of a way to incorporate that with the adding. And it's also like if you were to do addition and then incorporate that, you could do like a segue into measurement and things like that. So let's see. Okay. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through the night and day. and then in and out of weeks, and almost over a year to where the wild things are. So then up here, they would read the whole book, and then obviously up here would be where the quotes are, and it would start here. So you will record your answer to these addition equations in one of the boxes below. First, you will work out the answer with your group using the scratch paper provided. You will see a designated section for your group. And then I said do not use another group's space, provided as pencils and erasers. If you make a mistake, you need to go back. The scratch paper will serve as your presentation and method of solving this problem. So then once we complete that problem and we're done with the learning centers, we would have like a little presentation, and they would be able to go up with their group and teach the class about how they got the answer that they got. So they would write it in these sections right here. So that makes sense. And it's labeled group 1, group 2, group 3. And then up here, though, this is where they would label their like work and their method. But here is just where they would put like the answers. So, and I didn't explain, but so I took the quotes. He sailed in and out of a week. So if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are all weekdays, while Saturday and Sunday are weekends, then how many days altogether make up one whole week? And so they have little hints. We go to school 5 days out of the week. We have a 2-day break from school after the 5 previous days have passed. So then from there, they know that they need to set up the equation 5 plus 2 equals 7. So, and then same here. He sailed off through the night and into the day. So I said if there are 12 hours in a day and 12 hours in a night, how many hours make up one whole day? So discuss what you think the answer is with fellow peer. Record your answer on the line below. So 12 plus 12, right? So it would be like understanding that, you know, the half of things. So half of 6 is 12, or half of 12 is 6. And half of 10 is 5, etc. And so then over here, let's see. Okay. Over here, I didn't log in. I should have done that earlier. I apologize. I was a little bit late. I was stuck in traffic. So over here, basically, it would start off with a computer game. And let's see if I can log in really quick. And the computer game, and obviously the groups would be rotating. They wouldn't all be doing one center at one time, so you wouldn't have a bunch of kids, you know, crowded around the computer. So they could each take their respective turns playing the game. But basically what the game is, sometimes it takes a while to connect. Well, I'll explain. Basically what the game is it's a bunch of little fishes that are swimming. And on the fishes, there are little equations. So it's 2 plus 8 equals 7 plus 9 equals, and then around the little fishes are the numbers. And so one little fish will, like a 2 plus 9 fish will go by, and then a bunch of possible answers to that number problem will come by, and the fish will say like 11 or 10 or whatever, and the child will be able to click the correct answer. And so then they're each given a certain amount of time. Yeah, it's taking too long. I'm sorry I couldn't show you. I can give you the website, though. It's really cool. They have a bunch of different interactive games. It's a Soft Chalk website. But anyway, so yeah. So, and then after that, they would basically create their own game. So they would, and what they could do is, here, I'll just read the directions. The computer, okay, on the, play the fishing game on the computer. Each of you, I can't read this way. Where did it go? Sorry, you guys. Each of you should play one full game. After you and your groups have finished your turns, you will use the blank paper to create your own addition game. You will teach the game to your class. So again, it's just another way for them to teach to their class. And I would provide extra index cards with objects that they could cut out if they wanted to incorporate basically those manipulatives in their game. And then also leave blank index cards if they wanted to draw their own manipulatives and cut them out. Obviously, they would not be using these scissors, they're first graders, but just for illusion's sake, you know, so you can get the image of everything. So first I would give them a little sheet that they map out and brainstorm their game. They can talk about it, discuss it, draw it out, and then they can create a rough draft of their game, right? So they can kind of play with it again. So again, it's like another way for them, and this is all group coordinated, so it's another way for them to collaborate with one another and evaluate the problems on their own too, you know what I mean? Because they're all trying to figure out how this game is going to work, and then they have to come back together, obviously, and create something that they can teach to the class that makes sense. And then this is where they would put the final draft. So, I don't think I'm forgetting, oh, yes, okay. Did I talk about the multiple intelligences? No? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so the MIs used, just because I wanted to try and reach every learning style. So we have the visual spatial, obviously because there's a lot of imagery. Even with the book, it's visual. They can imagine things with the words. And then linguistic, again, going back to the book, and having to describe how it is that they solved a specific problem. And then bodily kinesthetic, because they're actually like playing with the materials, and the materials can't be created unless they're doing the work. So, and then interpersonal, because it is a very social learning center. So there's a lot of activity and discussion, and those learners thrive on that. And then also intrapersonal, because, oh, I didn't mention this, after we had completed the entirety of the learning centers, I would have them do a journal reflection on how they, basically just how they felt about it, what their favorite activity was, maybe what they didn't like, what they feel like they're struggling with. So it's a time for those learners to really reflect, you know. And then obviously logical, mathematical, because there's number problem sequences, etc. So yeah, that's it.